now we'll be going to Cape Verde, Libya, and Liberia as we try to balance the newspapers they've brought for us.
Headlines across Africa.
Headlines across Africa.
Headlines across Africa.
Headlines across Africa.
And we'll be reading from the Asemana newspaper in Cape Verde, where the headline says Pedro Ribeiro tops UCID's list for the Fogo constituency in the April 2021 legislative elections. The financial manager Pedro Ribeiro will top the list of the Cape Verdean Independence Democratic Union, which is UCID, with the opposition in the legislative elections of April 18 for the constituency of Fogo, as announced by the president of the party, Antonio Monteiro. Now, the political leader has concluded a 4-day visit to the island of Fogo and he was accompanied by the head of the list. We had Pedro Ribeiro in the local authorities of 2020, and he led the list of the UCID to the presidency of the Chamber of Sao Felipe. Now, according to the Info Press, Antonio Monteiro said that one of the issues that led him to the island were the legislative elections, and that during his stay, he made several contacts. He realized that there is a feeling of hope, which is translated into the UCID if the party manages to elect at least one national deputy in the electoral circle of Fogo. Well, that's the story coming from the Asemana newspaper in Cape Verde. Quite political, but when you have people and you have hope, I don't think anything is impossible. Moving on to Liberia, we'll be reading from the Front Page Africa newspaper, and their headlines are telling us that Liberia, first batch of teachers in early childhood education, receive in-service C certificates. Well, the Ministry of Education faces numerous challenges, including an inadequately trained and equitable distribution of teachers. According to the 2017 Ministry of Education Teacher Verification and Testing Program, 40 effective instructors at the primary levels, teachers who do not possess the minimum required knowledge of English needed to be effective. Now, the distribution of qualified teachers in Liberia is also inequitable, with regions having economic advantage also getting more and higher qualified teachers. So this has highlighted through the student to trained teacher ratio, and that is it's equivalent to 34:1. So you have like 34 students to one trained teacher in Montserrado County, yet it ranges from 64:1 to 90:1 in counties with high incidences of poverty. So you can have let's say about a class of 90 people having access to only one trained teacher, a class of 69 people having access to only one trained teacher, and that that is actually a problem. Well, I'm happy that they're looking at doing something, because the government has promised that there's going to be a transformation in the educational system, and they're looking to ensure that the system transformation actually starts with the training of teachers. So they want to look and celebrate critical milestones that they're going to be able to achieve in the sector. And so people have actually put their confidence back in the government and hoping to see a change when it comes to the educational sector. Well, that is the story coming from the Front Page Africa newspaper from Liberia. And now we're moving on to Libya, where we're reading from the Libya Herald. Well, the headline says Kubis continues meetings with Libya's leading stakeholders in Tripoli. So we have Special Envoy Jean Kupsi, ASG UNS Meal Coordinator Raisdon Zenega, and ASG Humanitarian Coordinator Georgette Gagnon, who met yesterday with the President of the Presidency. Now, UNSMIL reported that he congratulated them on their election by the Libyan Political Dialogue on the 5th of January. And they discuss ways that the UN can support to expedite the implementation of the LPDF roadmap, which is including of the holding of an official House of Representatives votes of confidence session. Now, Kubi's noted Memphi's commitment to the LPDF roadmap, including the holding of elections on 24th December 2021. He expressed the UN readiness to provide all needed technical support to the PC designate in the coming phase, especially in the reconciliation and transitional justice efforts and the unifications of state institutions. Well, that's the story coming from the Libya Herald in Libya. Now, one thing I want to say is when it comes to Libya and it comes to anytime I read the stories and it's like they're making progress when it comes to governance, they're making progress. It makes me happy because when we look at where they're coming from, when we look at a point in time what was actually happening in Libya, it's a good thing. It's an amazing thing to see them be able to sit or come together and to try and chalk down a roadmap of success, of development, one to bring transformation and peace to the country. Well, that's all we have for you for Headlines Across Africa.